On this slide, we're focusing on the disposition and renovation of income properties. These are two critical aspects when managing real estate investments. Disposition refers to the process of selling or otherwise transferring ownership of a property, which can impact your portfolio's overall performance. Renovation, on the other hand, involves upgrading or improving property to increase its value and rental income potential. Understanding how to effectively handle both disposition and renovation can help maximize returns and ensure your investments remain competitive in the market. Let's delve deeper into these topics as we move forward. Property disposition refers to the strategic sale, transfer, or exit of an income property. Timing plays a crucial role here because it directly impacts the property's value, the taxes you'll owe, and the level of buyer demand. Renovations are another key factor. They can significantly improve both the pricing potential and the marketability of your property. Ultimately, deciding the best path for disposition depends on your cash flow situation and your overall portfolio goals. Balancing these elements helps ensure you make the most informed and profitable decisions when managing your income properties. Let's walk through the property life cycle, which is crucial to understanding real estate investment strategy. First, we have acquisition. This is where the goal is to buy properties below market value or with significant upside potential to maximize returns. Next comes the hold phase. During this time, the focus is on operating the property efficiently, stabilizing income streams, and improving overall performance. The third stage is disposition, where we decide to sell the property, but only when the value, timing, and strategic goals are all aligned to ensure the best possible outcome. Finally, we have reinvestment, which involves taking the capital from the sale and redeploying it into the next promising opportunity. Each step builds on the previous one, creating a cycle that fuels long-term growth and success in real estate. Here, we're looking at four main types of disposition strategies for income properties. First, the sales strategy is all about immediate liquidity. This approach lets you capture value after making upgrades and tends to work best when market pricing is strong. Next, the 1031 exchange allows you to defer capital gains taxes by reinvesting the proceeds into stronger assets, helping you maintain momentum in your portfolio. The third strategy is hold and refinance, which involves pulling out equity while continuing to own a cash flowing property. This is particularly useful after your net operating income improves. Each of these strategies offers unique advantages depending on your investment goals and market conditions. When considering why to renovate income properties, there are 5 key reasons to keep in mind. First, increasing the value of the property through upgrades helps support stronger pricing when it's time to sell. Second, reducing maintenance costs is crucial. Installing new systems can significantly cut down on recurring repair expenses. Third, renovating helps attract tenants since modern. Updated spaces tend to lease faster and more consistently. Fourth, improving the finishes and overall look of the property allows you to justify charging higher rents, boosting your monthly income. Finally, extending the life of the property through capital improvements ensures it performs well over the long term, protecting your investment. All these points together highlight the significant benefits of renovating income properties. On this slide, we're looking at how market conditions play a crucial role in determining the best timing for selling income properties. In a seller's market, you have higher pricing power because more qualified buyers are competing for stabilized assets, which leads to stronger cap rate compression. This competition means you can often sell faster and lock in gains before the market cools down. The key strategy here is to accelerate listing when occupancy is high and market sentiment is positive. On the other hand, in a buyer's market, the dynamics shift significantly. Buyers have more leverage, so discount pressure increases as they negotiate harder. This usually leads to longer marketing periods, which can raise carrying costs. In such conditions, it might be wiser to delay the sale or consider repositioning the property through renovations. Improving the property first can increase its value and attract a wider buyer pool, ultimately leading to a better sale. Overall, your disposition strategy needs to be flexible. It should adapt based on current pricing power, the level of competition, and buyer demand. Understanding whether the market favors sellers or buyers helps in making informed decisions about when to sell or hold and renovate. When assessing a property's condition, it's important to focus on three main areas: structural, systems, and cosmetic. The structural aspect includes the roof, foundation, and building envelope, which are critical for the property's overall stability and longevity. Next, we have the systems, such as HVAC, plumbing, and electrical, which ensure the property functions smoothly and safely for occupants. Finally, cosmetic elements like units, finishes, and curb appeal impact the property's attractiveness and marketability. A thorough inspection in these areas reveals where the property's value is protected or potentially lost, guiding us in making informed decisions about disposition and renovation. When we talk about renovation works, the key principle is that value creation must clearly outpace the spending involved. In other words, the costs of renovation need to be justified by significant benefits. These renovation costs typically include materials, labor, permits, and a contingency fund for unexpected expenses. On the benefit side, we see things like an increase in rental income, growth in property value, and improved tenant retention. All of these factors contribute to the overall financial success of the project. A thorough cost-benefit analysis is essential to ensure that the investment in renovation actually enhances the income property, rather than just adding expenses. This balance between costs and projected benefits is critical when considering disposition and renovation of income properties. When it comes to budgeting for renovations, it's crucial to allocate every dollar before the work even begins, especially those funds you hope won't be spent. A solid renovation budget acts as a protective framework, safeguarding the scope of the project, the timeline, and ultimately the return on investment. Looking at typical budget breakdowns, planning accounts for about 5% upfront. The largest share, around 40%, goes to materials, which makes sense in quality materials are the foundation of a good renovation. Labor, essential for execution, usually consumes about 35% of the budget. Then, it's important to set aside around 15% as a contingency or risk buffer to cover unexpected costs that inevitably arise. Finally, administrative and control costs typically make up about 5%, covering project management and oversight. By carefully structuring your renovation budget like this, you not only keep the project on track, but also ensure financial discipline, reducing surprises and maintaining focus on your investment goals. When it comes to renovating income properties, there are several common mistakes that can significantly eat into your returns if you're not careful. First, over-improving the property is a big one. If you spend more than what the neighborhood rents or sale prices support, you won't see that investment back, which just lowers your overall profit. Next, ignoring building codes can lead to serious problems. If you miss permit or have violations, you could face costly fines, delays, and the need to redo work, all of which disrupt your timeline and budget. Another critical mistake is poor project management. Without tight oversight, projects can drag on longer than expected, waste materials, and end up with subpar quality, which hurts your bottom line and the property's value. Finally, scope creep is a subtle but dangerous issue. Unplanned upgrades tend to quietly increase your costs without necessarily adding proportional value, so it's important to keep your renovation goals clear and stick to the plan. By avoiding these pitfalls, you can prevent value leaks and ensure your renovation adds meaningful value to your investment property. When working with contractors, it's crucial to start with thorough vetting. This means verifying their licensing, checking references, confirming insurance coverage, and ensuring they have relevant experience specifically in multifamily projects. This careful screening helps reduce risks and sets a solid foundation for the project. Next, focus on the contracts. It's important to clearly define the scope of work, pricing, project milestones, how change orders will be handled, and accountability measures right from the start. Having these elements spelled out up front prevents misunderstandings and keeps everyone on the same page. Communication is another key to success. Establish regular weekly updates, conduct frequent site walkthroughs, and set up processes for rapid issue escalation. This proactive communication helps catch problems early and keeps the project moving smoothly. Finally, strong alignment with your contractor throughout execution is essential. When the contractor understands expectations clearly and communication flows well, it helps keep both the budget and schedule intact, ensuring the renovation or disposition of income properties happens as planned. This timeline outlines a typical process from assessment to disposition, usually lasting between 20 and 32 weeks. It begins with the pre-inspection phase, which takes about 2 weeks. Following that, planning and design occupy around 4 weeks, setting the foundation for the renovation work. The renovation execution is the longest phase, ranging from 8 to 16 weeks depending on the scope of work. After renovations, a final inspection is conducted over 2 weeks to ensure everything meets standards. Finally, the market and sell phase lasts between 4 and 8 weeks, concluding with the disposition of the property. This structured approach helps manage time effectively and ensures a smooth transition through each critical stage. When financing renovation projects, there are three common funding paths to consider, each balancing speed, cost, and risk in different ways. The key is choosing the capital source that best fits the scope of your project, the timing requirements, and your liquidity needs. First, using cash offers the fastest execution since there's no need for lender approval, giving you the strongest control over timing. However, the downside is that it ties up your liquidity, which can limit the number of projects you can take on at once. Next, construction loans are a popular option for larger, value-add renovations. They help preserve your cash by providing funds as needed. On the flip side, these loans add complexity with draw schedules, interest costs, and more stringent underwriting requirements. Lastly, a home equity line of credit provides flexible access to capital, allowing you to borrow as you need it. While this flexibility is a major advantage, variable interest rates and a requirement to use your home as collateral can increase financial risk and put pressure on your potential returns. Understanding the trade-offs among these funding methods is crucial for successfully managing renovation projects in income properties. When it comes to the tax implications of disposing of income properties, there are three key areas to consider. First, capital gains tax. The profit you make from the sale can trigger federal and state taxes, and these depend on how long you've held the property and your cost basis. It's essential to plan your net proceeds carefully to understand what you'll actually walk away with after taxes. Second, depreciation recapture. If you've taken depreciation deductions during the time you own the property, those amounts can be taxed back to you at disposition. This can significantly reduce your after-tax returns. So don't overlook any prior write-offs when calculating your potential tax liability. Finally, the benefits of a 1031 exchange. This mechanism allows you to reinvest your proceeds into a like-kind property, which can help you defer taxes and keep more capital working for you. By deferring taxes, you have more opportunity for growth and can strategically redeploy your investments. Understanding these points helps you make smarter decisions when selling or renovating income properties, optimizing your financial outcomes in the process. Let's talk about the 1031 exchange advantage and how it can benefit real estate investors. Essentially, this strategy allows you to reinvest the proceeds from selling one property into another qualifying property, which lets you defer paying capital gains taxes. Here's how it works step by step. First, you sell your existing property, but instead of cashing out and triggering a taxable gain, you use the proceeds to stay within the exchange. Next, you have to identify a like-kind replacement property within the IRS's specified timeline, usually 45 days. Then, you move forward with acquiring this new property, making sure to use the exchange proceeds to complete the purchase. This keeps the transaction compliant with IRS rules. Finally, the capital gains tax is deferred, meaning you don't pay those taxes immediately and instead preserve more equity. This extra equity can then be used for further portfolio growth, which makes the 1031 exchange a powerful tool for managing and expanding your real estate investments. When managing renovations in tenant-occupied properties, it's crucial to protect occupancy while the work progresses. Renovation plans are most successful when the impact on tenants is addressed early on. First, communication is key. It's important to set clear expectations around the schedule, noise levels, access to the unit, and safety measures before any disruptions begin. This helps tenants prepare and reduces frustration. Second, review the lease terms carefully. Understand the notice requirements, rights of entry, rent clauses related to renovations, and timing for lease renewals. This ensures compliance and helps avoid legal issues or tenant disputes. Third, consider relocation options. Providing temporary moves or phased access to units can help minimize vacancy and conflicts. This flexibility supports tenant satisfaction and maintains occupancy during renovations. By focusing on these areas, communication, lease terms, and relocation options, we can effectively manage tenant considerations and ensure a smoother renovation process. When we focus on green renovations, we're not just improving sustainability, we're also boosting our return on investment. Efficiency upgrades lead to lower utility bills, which means ongoing cost savings. These savings directly improve cash flow, making the property more financially attractive. Plus, green buildings often command higher rents, as tenants are willing to pay a premium for efficient, environmentally friendly spaces. Tax credits are another significant benefit, providing financial incentives that enhance profitability. Beyond that, efficient properties are more appealing to tenants, which reduces vacancy rates and makes them easier to lease. When it comes time to refinance or sell, these upgrades increase the property's value and marketability. So, investing in green renovations is a smart move that strengthens both sustainability and financial performance. Here, we take a closer look at the local market data to understand how the subject property compares to nearby assets. There are 12 comparable properties in the area, with each unit averaging around $2,180 in monthly rent. Over the past 5 years, the market has experienced a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 6.4%, which gives us a solid indication of steady appreciation. The subject property's current value stands at $8.6 million. After planned renovations, we project its value to increase to approximately $10.1 million. This improvement could potentially yield a return on investment ranging between 18 to 22%, which is quite promising. By analyzing comparable sales and averaging key metrics like monthly rent and appreciation rates, we gain valuable insights for making informed decisions about disposition and renovation strategies for income properties in this market. This market comparison analysis helps us gauge not only the property's current standing, but also its future earning potential. Here are some common exit strategy options to consider when managing your investments. First, selling outright provides immediate liquidity and exposes you to capital gains. This approach works best when market pricing is strong, allowing you to maximize your returns quickly. Next, holding and renting your property can generate ongoing income while still offering potential for future appreciation. This strategy is ideal when consistent cash flow is your priority. Another option is a partial sale, where you selectively dispose of assets but maintain 1031 exchange flexibility, making it useful for rebalancing your portfolio without fully exiting. Refinancing and holding allows you to extract cash from your property without giving up ownership, which is helpful when your equity is trapped and you want to unlock capital. Finally, there's the option of disposition combined with renovation, often used with income properties to enhance value before sale. Each strategy has its place depending on your financial goals and market conditions. When managing risk in the disposition of income properties, it's important to focus on 4 key areas: market risk, execution risk, tenant risk, and legal risk. Market risk involves monitoring comparable sales, keeping an eye on rate shifts, and preparing multiple pricing scenarios to stay flexible. Execution risk means locking down the project scope early, using trusted contractors, and including contingencies in both the schedule and budget to handle unexpected issues. Tenant risk requires early communication with tenants, carefully phasing work to minimize disruption, and planning for either tenant retention or turnover costs. Lastly, legal risk calls for thorough reviews of leases, permits, disclosures, and compliance with fair housing laws before moving forward with the disposition. Taking these steps can help ensure a smoother, more successful process when selling or renovating income properties. Here, we're focusing on portfolio diversification through disposition, which is essentially the process of rotating capital out of weaker assets and redirecting it into stronger markets. This strategy helps improve the overall resilience of the portfolio. The key idea is to treat disposition as a repeatable allocation strategy. First, you identify and dispose of underperforming assets. Then, you reinvest that capital into growth markets with better potential. After that, It's important to continuously monitor the performance of these investments to ensure they're meeting your goals. Finally, you repeat the cycle, selling lagging assets, redeploying capital, and rebalancing the portfolio towards stronger income potential. By consistently applying this approach, especially in the context of income properties, you can adapt to changing market conditions and enhance long-term returns. Here we have a successful renovation case study that really highlights the impact of targeted upgrades on property value. The project focused on exterior improvements, refreshing common areas, and turning 18 individual units. With a renovation spend of $480,000, these strategic enhancements reposition the property, which was previously dated, allowing for stronger rental rates. In fact, rents increased by 19% within just 12 months after the renovations were completed. Most impressively, the value created by these upgrades was 8.4 times the cost of the renovation, demonstrating a highly effective investment. This case clearly shows how thoughtful disposition and renovation of income properties can significantly enhance returns and asset appeal. Before moving forward with any property disposition decision, it's crucial to go through this checklist to ensure you're making a well-informed choice. First, under the market section, verify demand carefully. Make sure comps are updated, cap rates remain favorable, and the buyer pool is active. These factors confirm the property's market viability. Next, assess the property itself. Scope any deferred maintenance. Prioritize unit turnovers. Clear any code issues and document potential rent increases. This ensures the property is in good shape and maximizes value. Then, focus on finance. Lock the budget, model hold versus sell scenarios, review debt terms, and confirm that reserves are adequate. This financial groundwork minimizes surprises. Don't forget about taxes. Prepare a gain estimate. Model any depreciation recapture. Assess 1031 exchange eligibility, and confirm any entity-related tax impacts. This can significantly affect your net proceeds. Finally, plan your timeline carefully by mapping lease expirations, establishing a realistic permit path, aligning contractor schedules, and choosing the optimal listing window. Following the structured checklist helps you cover all critical bases before committing to disposition or renovation decisions. On this slide, we're focusing on the crucial topic of compliance, specifically legal and regulatory compliance in the context of property disposition and renovation of income properties. Maintaining compliance isn't just about following rules. It's about protecting value at the point of sale by demonstrating that renovations and operations meet all current regulations. First, let's talk about building codes. It's essential to confirm that all necessary permits are active before any work begins. Scheduling required inspections and retaining approvals throughout the renovation process ensures everything is up to standard. Updating key life safety measures, accessibility features, and occupancy requirements is critical to avoid any legal or safety issues down the line. Environmental compliance is another key area. This means assessing potential hazards like asbestos, lead paint, mold, and underground storage tanks. If any risks are identified, licensed professionals must handle remediation to properly mitigate these hazards. Keeping all environmental reports readily available is important for transparency with lenders, buyers, and insurers. Fair housing rules must also be closely followed. This involves applying consistent policies for leasing, renovation access, and providing proper notices. Accommodation and modification requests need to be honored appropriately, and marketing language and screening policies should be reviewed to prevent any form of bias. Lastly, disclosure requirements play a major role. It's vital to disclose all known defects, repair histories, and any open claims. Providing comprehensive documentation like leases, permits, warranties, and vendor contracts builds trust and helps avoid disputes. Seller statements must also align with local and state disclosure forms to ensure full compliance. In summary, thorough documentation, verification, and transparent disclosure form the backbone of effective legal and regulatory compliance, helping to protect the property's value and ensure a smooth transaction process. When evaluating real estate investments, it's crucial to measure what truly matters. Key metrics for success include tracking profit, pricing power, exit speed, and overall value creation. One important measure is the cap rate, which reflects the income yield of a property. Another is cash-on-cash return, indicating equity efficiency and how well your invested capital is performing. We also look at days on market or exit velocity to understand how quickly assets can be sold. Rent growth percentage reveals revenue momentum, helping us gauge ongoing income potential. Property appreciation percentage provides insight into asset value growth over time. Finally, return on investment or ROI gives us an overall picture of investment performance. Together, these metrics offer a comprehensive view of disposition and renovation success for income properties, guiding better decision making and maximizing returns. As we wrap up, let's focus on the strategic nature of disposition. Disposition isn't simply about selling an asset. It's a powerful tool that helps unlock capital, boost performance, and speed up the growth of your portfolio. The key is to renovate with clear purpose, exit with disciplined decision making, and then reinvest to achieve stronger yields. A well timed renovation and sale can completely reposition your investment portfolio, creating new opportunities and maximizing returns. Remember, successful disposition and renovation go hand in hand to drive strategic outcomes and long term success.